Good morning, my darling. You up for a bestie chat in my pyjamas? Let's have a bestie chat in our pyjamas. I don't know if you're still in your pyjamas, but I'm going to imagine that you are, so it's less weird. I shared a sentence that Trent Shelton says a lot. It's actually the title of his recently released book. He says, protect your peace. He says it a lot. He's been saying it a lot for years and years and years. And I always thought I knew what that meant, because I think a lot of my transformation process, and tell me if this is true for you, a lot of my transformation process has been about my own self-destruction, right? The behaviors I used to engage in, the things that Patrice would say, the things that she still does say sometimes that I have to punch the mute button on. So a lot of my healing and my growth process, my weight loss process, my business growth process, like all of it has been directed towards stopping my self-destruction. That's still all true. I still have to intentionally engage in those behaviors sometimes, especially when life is lifing. But I also recognize that with the position, I think that's the wrong word, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. The position I now hold in other people's lives, being a coach, being a mentor, being a guide, a support system, I also have to be very, very aware of how other people's energy, other people's self-destruction affects me, especially when life is lifing to me already, still having to engage in all my stuff. And then I'm getting the weight of other people's stuff. And I think how I'm interpreting what Trent means when he says protect your peace for this season of life that I'm in is, yes, we have to almost self-protect, like the engaging in the behaviors that lead towards our self-destruction, just because that's what we feel like doing. That's what's the most comfortable. That's what maybe provides us with comfort or makes us feel safe because that's what we've always done. So we have to protect ourselves from that self-destruction. So having your systems, your rituals, all those things is super important. We also have to become boundary setting ninjas. Sis. Boundary setting ninjas. Because it's easy a trigger is really easy to be set. I had an example of that just now. A trigger is very quick for a trigger to set itself. And when we notice physiological responses in ourselves like that, it's not anybody else's responsibility to fix up, look sharp about that, right? It's our responsibility to shut that shit down real quick. And setting boundaries is so important, allowing people to people, let them. I think is it Mel Robbins that came up with that. She did a very impassioned reel that was from a longer interview where she said let them like 12 times in a 45-second reel. Let people do what they're gonna do. We can feel the emotion that comes with other people's stuff. We don't have to keep the emotion that comes with other people's stuff, especially when it can easily trigger our self-destruction. I've always struggled with boundary setting because I am a recovering people pleaser. I always want people to feel favorable when they're around me. I want people to feel good when they interact with me. That's always been my thing. And it's coming from a healthy place now. It used to be from a validation and acceptance place before. It's not necessarily that way now, but I always want people to think of me a certain way, right? So effective boundary setting actually dictates that you become okay with people misunderstanding you. You have to be okay with people misunderstanding you. You have to be okay with people creating whatever narrative they need to create about you to make themselves feel okay. And you have to let them. To protect your peace, you have to let them. And that's a hard lesson to learn, but it's a valuable one in this process of transformation that we're committed to, right? So I hope you can let them today in some capacity. I hope you can protect your peace today in some capacity. I hope you can set some boundaries for yourself in some capacity, especially when somebody else's behavior or just a situation, a scenario becomes a trigger for you that then is setting off your instinctual self-destructive patterns. That's not okay, because that's us being at the mercy of other people's shit. And we're grown-ass women and we don't do that. Okay? So, anyway, I'd love to know what your thoughts are about me word vomiting all over you. I hope it served you in some kind of way. Because we're worth more than being victim to other people's stuff.